Uswears, welcome back to the channel. How are you doing? It's time for our check-in. This is week 5, I believe. And we're going to try to keep it a little brief today. We're having a snowstorm here in the East Coast, or it just passed around Sunday, Monday, and we've had to dig out here. Now, the kids also are not going to school. So my daughter is at home. And here we are. But I do have a lot to report. Well, excuse me. So, can y'all hear me here? Sorry about that. Just make sure this worked out pretty good. Okay. So, yeah, we're on day 37 of my retention. Of course, we're doing our check-in for week 5, and 30 days was a big day. 37 days, I can give you a couple of updates. One, I felt my assertiveness kind of go up, and I'll tell you where that happened. We were having a fight team meeting, and I just put everybody together, and we were just like, look, marching orders, let's go, 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 go. This is what we're doing. Let's summarize. And I think a lot of people appreciated that, somebody just to kind of take charge and have the vision of moving forward. So a lot of people report that high assertiveness is something that happens when you retain your seed. Maybe also some just the fact that you got all this pent up energy, right? So you got to make sure you direct that energy somewhere. But for me, assertiveness levels have gone up. I would also say that my father-in-law is dealing with some cancer right now. There's a lot of things that are in flux. There's a lot of too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. And then these doctors don't even talk to each other. This is where I don't really trust the medical industry here, because they're all out there to make money. But one of the things is he had a surgery recently, and he's got a preemptive chemo therapy that's happening, pill form, and he's not tolerating it very well. And I've decided to go to the doctor with him because I wanted to make sure I talked to the doctor. And they're like, oh, maybe you're getting chest pain, and we know that the medication could also create some problems with the heart. But I was like, oh, it must be some acid reflux. The doctor's just guessing. And but it says you have this heart condition too. So and then I asked him, I was like, hey doc, it sounds like the professionals need to talk together. And I was trying to be as polite as I can. That's exactly how I said it. It sounds like there needs to be a meeting of the minds of the professionals, because my father-in-law here has a heart condition, and we don't know if the chemo drug is going to react to that. And he was like, well, I'm not going to, I don't, that's not what I do. I was like, that sounds really weird to me. That's not something that you do. And I was like, you don't think it's a good idea to talk to a cardiologist and somebody about his heart condition? So, no, it's not. I was like, so you're saying you're not going to do it? Like, no, I won't. I was like, okay, very interesting. It's very, very strange, because when you go into a doctor's office, they're wearing the white coat, and you immediately give them this authority. It's like any type of costume people are wearing. Even for me, I wear a gi, so it's like I have this authority, right? And you just have to remember not everybody, you can challenge authority. That's going to be really important. That's one of the reasons why I feel semen retention is going to save the world, because it makes people stand up, be more assertive, and not take crap from people. So anyway, that's a little bit of experience I had recently with some assertiveness. And these are all things, of course, people report on testosterone, on TRT, that it's like I have higher confidence, I'm more assertive, I have more energy, and all these things. And again, another belief of mine is that it does increase your testosterone levels, or at least increases your androgen sensitivity to help you channel and get all these benefits from testosterone. So yeah, I mean, I'm at odds with the doctors once again, because the doctors say that this is not something that happens. Like, oh, only after, yes, we see that there's a benefit at 7 days, but after that, there is no benefit. And I just, I don't believe it, And they say, well, there's no scientific proof. There's only anecdotal proof. There's only what you say. And at the same time, what I always say is that now science is a religion, and that doesn't make me a science denier or like a flat earther or any of those things, although those conspiracy theories are very interesting to discuss. What that does make me is I have to be very critical about it. Why? Because science believes that if you can't see it, then it doesn't exist, right? We have to prove it some way. We have to be able to see it. And that's where, I find that it's at odds with how the world and the universe actually works. But Anyway, just something to be aware of. And also, I also talk about Dr. Jang a lot. He has this channel called Predictive History. I think it's very interesting. And one of the things he talks about is how our society is at odds, with how we really want to be. For instance, what money does, it makes us be. It's basically two mutually exclusive categories. One is altruism and utilitarianism, right? Money is very utilitarian, but really, us inside, we were very altruistic, and you can't be both, is what he says. I'm still trying to figure that out for myself, but at the same time, I do feel like this snowstorm has brought a lot of altruism in our area, in that we're trying to help each other. I actually went and shoveled out three of my neighbors. One was an old lady across the street. One lady had her husband in the hospital and couldn't shovel up the driveway. So, I went in there. And that's one thing that I have experienced. Again, I always talk about this boundless energy on semen retention. And um, I'll be honest, I was feeling a little bit low on energy earlier on in the week, pretty much after we had our last check in, because I am in a calorie deficit right now. I'm losing weight for a tournament coming up. As a matter of fact, on Friday, I'm going to have to travel to New York to do the weigh in for the New York Open Veterans Judo tournament. And Saturday is the competition, right? So I'm a major calorie restriction right now. I'm also trying to make sure I cut down on my sodium and my electrolytes, which I normally consume pretty regularly on a daily basis to make sure there's no cramping, and I'll also make sure that my hydration is good. But I'm having to cut that out right now because I have to make weight. I'm about 3 pounds away from the 178-pound cutoff. That's under 81 kilos. And so therefore, I felt like I was in a keto flu for a while. I was really cutting back on my calories, but also on my carbohydrates. And that's something you really have to monitor very closely when you're working out, just to make sure you get enough carbohydrates, enough energy. But you have to kind of do it in a way that you don't want to overdo it, right? Because it's a good way to put on weight. It's a good way to put on water. And so therefore, I've been actually feeling like, now it's not just like I'm low on energy all the time. I feel like sometimes I connect into, as if you were plugging into a wall, and all of a sudden, boom, you got this rush of energy, right? And so it was a little bit of a drag for me for like Thursday, Friday to kind of do things. But then come, Sunday, um, you had to shovel the driveway. We've got this thick sheet of ice. I don't know if you guys are on the East Coast, but for us, we're here on the East Coast, and we got these thick sheets of ice. Snow came down first, we had to plow it, and then later on, the sleet and rain came, and that basically created this ice sheet that you have to go in and chip down with a shovel and then scoop out with a snow shovel. And that was exhausting. But I was able to do that for like 3 hours, even with a calorie deficit, out there for 3 hours shoveling, helping other people out too. And I probably spent about 10 hours of snow shoveling. So while I haven't been able to train as often as I would with a whole bunch of people down by in Washington, D.C., as I drive down to my academy, I have shoveled a lot of snow. And that's been a great workout. And I found that the retention is allowing me to almost not register the fact that I'm out there for that long. One thing that I did read, of course, they always warn you about shoveling snow because it's a great way to get a heart attack if you're not in shape, but also it's an easy way to exhaust yourself because you're out in the cold and you may not feel the normal exhaustion that you get. And so therefore, I definitely didn't feel it. I just kept going, and I didn't feel bad afterward. I felt great. And I'm actually looking forward to shoveling more snow because it is an amazing workout. So I would say that's another thing about this boundless energy. Even though I am in calorie restriction, I still feel like I can tap into it once it gets tapped in, I'm going the entire time. I helped my neighbor whose son came by to help out too. He's a little younger than me. He had to take a couple breaks. No slight on him. I went in there and tried to help him out, and I didn't even have to stop. And then maybe because of my physical conditioning, but also I feel, again, this is the semen retention that is really fueling my energy and also fueling my motivation. So there you have it. That's basically the summary of all the benefits that I've gotten over the last 7 days. So again, I'm on day 37. Tomorrow will be day 38. Tournament's coming on Saturday, so I'll drive up to New York. Hopefully, I don't get snowed in up there either, because we're expecting another snowstorm. But that's okay, because I'm ready to shovel more snow if need be. So that's a quick update. Now, we do have the World Championships for Jiu-Jitsu and Judo already on the schedule. I'm going to get to fight Kudo for the first time on my birthday at 46 years old. Hopefully they'll have other 45-year-olds for me to fight with. But it's going to be very, very fun for me because I actually haven't done any type of striking competition for nearly a decade. My last fight was in 2017. I came out of retirement MMA. I was going through divorce, going through a lot of different things, and I decided it was time to get back into the cage for at least one more fight. It was a terrible idea. I didn't get hurt, but I thought I had won, but I didn't win, and that's just because I've been out of the game for so long. But I'm ready to make sure that I stay connected with that fighting spirit. So I'm really looking forward to this competition coming up, and I'm going to be training a lot more striking as we go along, and putting a lot more stuff on YouTube, on my social medias about Kudo techniques, so y'all can help and follow along. I know a lot of people are interested in that as well, and as am I. So, we'll continue to post more content about that. But yeah, if you're loving the content, if this is helping you out, please leave a like on the video, leave me a comment. Also, I'm always looking through the comments and always trying to answer everybody as much as I can. If you have any questions about semen retention, it seems like it's something that people don't want to approach me about because they find that it may be odd. I'm sure it's a weird thing to talk about. But I honestly think that we can really benefit this world if we exert a little bit more discipline, a little bit more control on ourselves. I don't know if you've seen the jujitsu drama that's going on recently. There's a lot of sexual abuse, sexual assault, that things are happening, and it's just a shame. I saw some type of figure that came out that said 60% of women in jiu-jitsu are assaulted in some way, or and then it's very unfortunate. And so therefore, as men, it's important for us to take control of our minds and control of our actions, because that's really all we have control about is what we do. And if we can do that, then we can get more people into jiu-jitsu, more people into martial arts, because we know that people want and need this, and it is another thing, another vehicle for self-improvement, and something that can change the world. I'll also say this: as you notice, things are just kind of coming to me, and I feel like this practice of semen retention also connects you with the greater consciousness of the universe. And some would say that like things come from your brain, but at the same time, it's like, how do we communicate with one another? Almost like I'm thinking something and this person thinking something at the same time. There must be something in the universe, like waves of energy or thoughts that you got to connect into. And I think that that's another thing that semen retention allows us to do, is connect to that and be able to channel that, and for us to be a vessel for that. And so therefore, I just want to continue this journey as long as I can. And I feel like more and more I'm connecting with this universal consciousness. So, or maybe it's just a placebo, who knows, right? Anyway, I'm going to continue doing that and continue on with my goals. I did see somebody comment on one of my initial videos about becoming a 45-year-old world champion, of course, in the over 45 division in Kudo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Judo. And they said that, this must be all ego, and you're putting yourself at great risk. And I know that my words probably don't mean anything to you and you won't quit, but it's a waste of time. And to that person, I haven't just quickly responded to that comment yet, but I will. I had to give it some thought, because at the same time, I don't want to take a Gordon Ryan off-putting type of response, which is like, you could never understand what it is to be me, because that's why you're you. I always think about that movie Troy. Not always one of the best movies, but it had some good sequences in it with Brad Pitt. He's Achilles, and he goes and defeats this gigantic 7-foot giant champion on the other army that they're opposing, and they of course go one-on-one, and the winner gets, of course, wins the battle. So he goes in there and just like effortlessly slays this guy. And he said, this kid says like, oh, I would have never fought him. I would be too afraid to fight him. And he says, that's why no one will know your name. I'm not taking that approach. I do think about that scene a lot, but yes, of course, I would be lying if it's not a certain ego inside of me that wants to achieve certain things. I have regret over the first, I don't know, the last my 30s, because I wasted a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time. I made a lot of. How you doing? Thanks for checking in too. Uh, Thank you. What's up? What's up to you, brother? And the I wasted a lot of time in my 30s, probably doing a lot of things I shouldn't have done. Be it out there on dating apps when I was going through divorce, smoking a lot of marijuana, smoking a lot of nicotine, not eating correctly. That's wasting a lot of time, and I wasn't really using it towards anything. And that's just what I want to try to do. I want to make up for some lost time and really apply myself. And if you, here's the honest thing, right? So I would say, yes, of course, there's always some ego in it, like to be called the world champion, even though you're the old man's division world champion. But at the same time, it keeps me focused on a goal, because, as much as I like to eat right, I like to train, there's always something about having a goal, and also something very sobering about combat sports where there's a person on the other side that is trying to injure you or at least trying to beat you. And so you got to do everything you possibly can to defeat that person. And that means getting the right amount of sleep, eating the right things, making sure your nutrition is on the right path. There's a lot of things that you got to do, that you're training every single day, that you're at least, taking care of your body, right? And if I don't have that type of motivation, it's easy to slip. Holidays, I gained a couple pounds easily. I was gaining like 10 pounds because I ate sugar and things I didn't have to do. And that's because like I didn't have any type of urgency. There was nothing really going on. I didn't have a goal to work towards. And that's really why I do this, is to have a goal to work towards and give me some type of focus. So while it is a little, a risk, combat sports is always a risk. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I think I understand the risk at least. And I'm going to continue to do that. That definitely wasn't the way that it worked out when I got back in the cage in 2017 out of retirement. That was something that I shouldn't have done. Of course, there was a lot more potential for injury, and I don't want to do that again because there's really no reason for me to put myself at that risk. But I do want to feel the challenge and somebody to throw some hands with, to throw headbutts against, to throw somebody, to pin somebody, submit somebody. And I think that that brings me a lot of excitement too. That's the other reason I do this. Maybe I'm an adrenaline junkie, but I'm not ready to jump out of a plane. I'm not ready to climb up the side of the tallest building in Taipei like Alex Honnold. It's just it's not something I want to do. I also don't like heights very much, but if I got to climb up, I will. Instead, I want to do battle with somebody who wants to do battle with me. And of course, it's all rooted in discipline and respect. And we're going to be friends after we fight. And that's the rule that we have at our academy. And that's the rule that we should have in martial arts. And so therefore, this is what I'm looking to do. But that is my answer to that person who leaves a comment. And again, I do appreciate all your comments, whether they're positive or negative. Feel free to do that and send me a message. I always like to see what people are thinking. But again, sometimes in the past, I would say before retention, I would really be swayed by people's words, even trolls. Like I remember the first time I was getting on the social media platform in a big way. That was almost 2 years ago, and I lost a lot of sleep with some comments that people had sent me. Basically saying that I didn't know what I was talking about. Why am I doing this? I'm being irresponsible, and I lost a lot of sleep. I didn't even ask my wife. I sat there one day, and she's like, "You look distraught. Like something is on your mind." And I said, "Yeah, I don't know if I can take this." And I even called my social media handler, as you would say, my manager. And I said, "I don't know if I like this post. I don't know if I can do it. And I think I don't feel right." And he had to talk me through it. I'm really appreciative that he did, because he's like, "Look, listen, man, like what you really want is you want people to comment. You want people to converse. You want a discourse. And a lot of times soon you're going to have people that believe in the things that you believe in, and they'll come and they will comment and combat the people that are out there saying negative things." And of course, that is the problem with the universe. The internet universe is that a lot of it is pretty much anonymous. Like there's a lot of things you wouldn't say to somebody's face if they were standing right in front of you. We have a lot of keyboard warriors, and that's just the way it is. And so some people like to use that opportunity to get a rise out of people. And it's been close to 2 years now, and I would say I've grown a lot thicker skin, and a lot of these things don't bother me anymore. And I also like to think that it has to do a lot with semen retention as well, because once you make up your mind, it's almost like, hey, it's what it is, and you don't really care what other people think. So there you have it. This is the major updates for day 37, also known as week 5 of my semen retention journey. Thank you for joining me on this. We're going to continue to do this throughout the year. So hopefully you guys can join me for some check-ins. Feel free to ask questions. As I said before, if you really want to support the channel, just leave a like or a comment here. Let me know what day you're on in your streak. Again, I'm not worried about the streaks. I always say this as I sign off, and that's that if we're too concerned about the streaks, if we're white knuckling it, there's a good chance that you might make a mistake. And then you say, well, you know what? I already made one mistake. I might as well continue to make a bunch more. And now you're down this corn rabbit hole, and you're back to where you were. Okay. So that's not what we want. All we really want to do is make sure that, that other people are on board, that other people are undergoing this practice and getting benefit from it. And hey, look, a lot of things that we learn is also from our failures. Like that's really what we have to understand. I was talking about ego earlier, and if you let your ego take over, then definitely you will not be successful. The ego is very fragile. It's very easy to shatter, and it's an image. It's all just an illusion. And so therefore, while we say, like, as a martial arts thing, like leave your ego at the door, it is difficult, and on the training floor, you do need an ego to a certain degree. Like, I'm not going to stop, and there's reasons why. But if it's only about ego, it's very easy to get shattered. So if you get too concerned about how many days and this and that, then and you're a failure, and then now you're just going to not adopt the practice anymore. And you're back to where you were. Nobody wants that. And what we want to do is make sure we empower each other, help each other out, but also understand that the way that we learn is through failure. Okay, understand that, and that's where also, like, for me, as I test my skill, it's very easy to think you are the master of martial art, although I don't think that. Like, there's always a lot to learn, right? But I run the school, I am the figurehead of the school, and this is all an illusion, because if you think that like that, you're never going to put yourself at risk. You understand? Thank you. So this is my wife, of course. Oh, look at her, everybody. She's on a live stream. She can't even edit this, so I'm sorry about that. This happens when you come in. So um, yeah, there you go. Very supportive a wife, by the way. A lot of people ask questions about, how you can be on retention, and you got to make sure that you discuss it with your wife and she understands what's going on too. I also wanted to spell this one thing too, is that I'm getting a lot of phone calls from my friends, and like, hey man, are you crazy? Like, you're talking about semen retention. Like, what about your wife? Because they're good friends with my wife too. It's like, I feel so bad for Michelle. I was like, well, no, she's having an even better time, because it's not really about me, it's about her, right? Whenever we're together intimately, it's about me making sure that she feels the closeness, she feels, the intimacy, both the physical and mental and spiritual. And so therefore, that's it's really a benefit for your partner, and especially because now they understand that, you're not in it for this, for just a quick instant gratification, or like, 3 seconds of ecstasy. You're there to make them feel good, and also because you want to be closer to them. That being also said, I'm still trying to understand how to be the multi-orgasmic man. I picked up the book. Of course, I haven't gotten through the whole thing yet. I don't know if I have it next to me. Ah, yes, here it is. Right. Um, Trying to learn more things about it, and be able to understand that you can be intimate with your wife or significant other, and also feel intense pleasure. So we'll see about that. But anyway, maybe I've said too much. I digress. So there you have it. Again, don't, if you slip up, it's not the end of the world. You get right back on the horse. I'd also have been told, and also have experienced myself. Not that I am watching corn anymore. It's been like 8 years getting off that, and I feel great. I would never go back. Partly because, like, I remember what it was like feeling down in the dumps, feeling anxious, feeling like just mentally weak about myself, and just being tired all the time. I didn't know what it was, why it was, because society makes you think that it's okay. It's actually 100% natural. One thing that I watched when I was growing up in sex education class was this video called "Am I Normal?" So they showed it to us. It came on like a big projector that they put it, and they showed it to all the kids, that, like, letting you know that self pleasure and releasing your seed is totally normal and acceptable. And if you don't do it, then that's almost like you're abnormal. And you're not abnormal because you're doing it, you're abnormal if you're not doing it, type of thing. And that's, and of course, reinforced by all the different movies we watch, like Something About Mary, Flogging the Dolphin Before You Go Out on a Date. American Pie, all these things that we grew up with, and just making us think about chasing pleasure, chasing sex, chasing lust. Like, those are all things that are good for you. And that's what it is about to be an American. And so I just, of course, ate that up, because I wanted to fit in. Notice in America, at that time in the 80s, like, of course, there's a lot of immigrants, but you don't look like the majority of people, and you want to fit in as much as you can. And definitely got bullied and picked on a lot. That's why I got into martial arts. So I'm willing to take on all the ideas, the culture that makes me part of this great mixing bowl of America. And so that was something that I took up too. And I would never go back, after understanding that the superpower of abstaining from wasting energy, of like just carelessly giving your power away to a bunch of pixels on a computer screen. That is a waste of time. And and if it's something, yes, definitely, it is power. Thank you. It is something that we must continue to understand, that the seed is sacred. And if we understand that, then we're more willing to protect it, and also willing and able to draw from its power. That's another thing too. You want to make sure that you are channeling all your energy. For those of you that are new to the channel and new to the practice, it can't just be retention. It can't just be sitting in a room and just like, meditating, and that, as much as meditation and breathing and all these other tools are really important. You're going to have boundless amounts of energy, as I've been talking about the last couple of weeks, and as I've been talking about in this video about going out there and shoveling snow for like hours at a time without even needing a break. You're going to need to channel that energy somewhere. And so therefore, like, I highly recommend martial arts. You know, if you're in Washington, D.C., come visit my school, betaacademy.com. Is where you can go and get a free class. If you are, online and wanting to get into martial arts, I have some great courses, and all of the purchases go to support the channel and my travel. So if you could do that, you can check the link in the description below. I have some different promotions to my courses on nakapanmma.com. Love to have you start martial arts. I am a firm believer that martial arts is going to be a force to change the world. It will make you more confident, less scared, ability, give you some abilities that hopefully you can use in other areas of your life. And not to say that, if you train jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai or MMA, that you're gonna be able to handle all things, but, hopefully you'll carry yourself differently, and you can use that confidence to overcome other challenges and adversity in your life. So thank you very much for being a part of this journey. Of course, I will be here next week. Next week, I will be traveling. I'm having a little bit of a break in Mexico. We're going to go visit the cenotes. I'm also going to go into a sweat lodge and hopefully connect more with the spirit world. So we'll see. No peyote, no drugs or anything like that. More about like going in there and sweat and trying to see what I can find, and also look inward as well. And so I'm very excited to be reporting to you from over there, letting you know how I am, and very excited to get out of this cold and to enjoy some much needed warm weather. Okay, I'm not built for this weather, but as you can see, I'm even wearing this hoodie inside right now. It is so cold. So thank you very much for following this. Thank you. And hopefully you found this video helpful. And if you are, again, please like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, contact me on my socials. I'd love to know how you're doing. Is there anything that I can do to support, or anybody on this group that can help to support you? Please feel free to comment there, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Thank you guys for joining.